Absolute bedlam. Absolute bedlam. Absolute bedlam. Talking about topics and stuff. Absolute bedlam. Absolute bedlam. Absolute bedlam podcast. Who? What? Where? Why?
Hello and welcome to Absolute Bedlam podcast. I am well and truly burning the candle at both ends at the moment. I am now on my second podcast recording this week, and it's Thursday. And some people might think, fucking hell, Ben, all you do is moan. That's true. Anyway, tonight I have a very special guest. I have Ash Frith, and I wanted to say Ash Firth for comedy reasons, but I just can't bring myself to do it. So, how's it going, Ash? You all right?
It's going well. Yeah, you should do it. It's fine.
Okay.
I'm used to it by now. People do it all the time, and it's it's done me all right.
Yeah.
People getting that name wrong. It's
Love it.
yeah, very common.
There we go. So we've got comedian, Twitch streamer, Pranks and Firth podcast, and slight YouTuber now and then. And obviously you help out with Digitizer. You help out, Ashens, all that sort of stuff. Anatomical Bomb, shout out. Ed the Penguin, I think you might know him.
I know of him. I don't know him though, but
Nice.
Again, it's a weird little insular group of people that everyone knows everyone in that.
Yeah.
I think.
Got Ed the Penguin on in June, so I'll tell him he said hello.
You're so organised. Like
Mate,
the listeners should know that this
schedule.
was organised. It's about 4. Look at that.
It just doesn't fucking stop, mate.
But it's good. This is your second one. I mean, we never get ahead in our podcast. We're like, imagine if we could just record ahead. Even the Patreon ones, which aren't sort of topical.
Yeah.
Like we could just get together and record 20, and we never do.
This is probably the most mental sentence I'll say tonight. But from November, I'm going to stop booking guests, and I'm just going to take life as it comes. And if someone mental emails me, then I can just get them on. Rather than, do you mind waiting 6 months? They're like, nah, mate, fuck this. I'll just go to someone else. So,
maybe just reduce the distance at which you book people. Well, I mean, it's very efficient, but it does give people that wiggle room to then get something and cancel. That's the problem. You feel like you secured it, but like people, I feel like the longer they've got something booked in, the more likely they are to go.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, and then you get cancellations, and then Anyway, so first things first, how did you meet Justin Panks?
My comedy partner.
Yes.
Well, we used to go to a gig. He's from Norwich, I'm from Southend, and we used to go to this absolutely excellent open mic gig. Like we're talking 10 years ago. But he started about 11 or 12 years ago. I started 10 years ago. This gig called Bad Cat in Cambridge, and it was absolutely exceptional. It's run by Jason Stamp. He now runs comedy clubs all over called Big Deal Comedy. They're always brilliant nights. But back then it was an open mic type thing. And what they used to do is they had this pub in Cambridge, and they would have anyone can turn up. So you could literally have 20 acts, and everyone's name went into a hat, and then so you never knew when you were on. They'd be packed. The audience would be packed. They'd be packed with acts, and then he would just pull names out of the hat, just pull names, and then you go get the next person, get the next person, get the next person. And you have all levels. Like you can imagine open mic. I don't know if you've ever gone and watched open mic, but it is like you can have someone who's the worst comedian you've ever seen, and you can have people who are going to make it. There's people that did that gig that are now TV acts, and it was just Panks was one of them. He was just there, and I was there, and he was good, and we got talking. He's quite a difficult character to what's the word, to just have a chat with, because he's quite intimidating. But we hit it off. We just hit it off, and then I was going to do a podcast about 7 years ago, and I just said to him, "Do you want to do it?" And he went, "Yep." And we did, and we talk now 3 times a week, 2-3 times a week.
Yeah.
And we speak every day. It's like having a proper girlfriend.
Yeah.
It's been going steady ever since.
There's a mate that I met a couple of years back that I used to work with, and I think if him and Panks got together in a room, the world would end.
Oh,
Like,
really?
they are
Like that?
so similar to each other that he just goes off on one, and I'm kind of trying to rein him back in and be like, look, mate, it's not just you. The government hates everyone. Don't worry about it.
Well, see,
And
Panks. The beauty of Panks is he can invent a conspiracy theory
Mm.
Off the top of his head. He doesn't believe them as such.
Yeah.
And he doesn't necessarily hold these opinions, but he's brilliant at articulating and creating stories as he goes.
Mm.
And I honestly see it. And like you're saying there, I don't think reining him in is the right way.
Yeah,
but
true.
It's just like giving the, you know, when you've got a dog and it's on one of those extendable leads, so you let them run off a little bit, but then sometimes you have to release the trigger and stop them, and then come back a little bit, and then let them go again. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. And you can get some real beauty. I'm basically an admin for our podcast, and he comes up with the gold, and I'm just there helping him find it. He's like a little snuffling, you know, those pigs that snuffle for truffles.
Truffles, yeah. Love it. Brilliant.
I'm sort of the pig truffle.
Awesome.
Keeper.
So I've been listening to your podcast for about a year and a half, like I just said to you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Your episode, Agree to Argue. Like, I can't not mention that because it's there's
you have
a
to
point.
Remember, as I said to you, I don't remember anything, so you're gonna have to explain to me what it was.
There's a point where I think a riot breaks out between you two, and you start like proper flinging shit at each other, and then you kind of de-escalate it, and then you just start talking about COVID for about 30 minutes. And there's a mention of something in that episode, Ash, called the piss shudder.
Oh yes, the piss shudder. Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
So you don't suffer, no?
I don't know what you're on about.
Turns out 1 in 10 people, when they piss, have a shudder.
Okay.
You just go, oh. Like, you know that expression, someone's walked over your grave?
Yeah.
You get a cold. So it's that, but when you piss. But only 1 in 10 people have it. So I have it, and I've always assumed everyone had it because I had it. And then I was taking a piss with my wife in the toilet behind me, because that's what happens when you have children. You don't get any time to yourself. And I did it, and she went, "What the fuck was that?" And I went, "What do you mean? That's the shudder. Do you not have the shudder?" And she's like, "No." And then the next day, my daughter was there, and she was doing a wee, obviously sit down, and she did a little shudder. And I went, "She does the shudder, so you're the odd one out." My wife. And then I said to my 14-year-old son, I was like, "Do you do it?" He's like, "No." So then I looked it up, and it's 1 in 10 people have it.
Fair enough.
And other people just have no idea it exists. When I talk about it on stage now, and you literally see an audience going, "What are you talking about?" And then a couple of people going, "Yeah," and no one knows. No one knows that it's just them. That's the beauty of it. It's a weird thing, but
the hidden truth. I love it.
It's not a pleasant thing, and it can be very dangerous if you're tired, and you could spray all over the place if you haven't got full control.
There we go.
Yeah.
This could be like a PSA for all the people out there.
Exactly. There
Could
so
be an awareness campaign. Yeah, definitely.
There's so many, 1 in 10. But then this happened to me the other day, because I heard Richard Herring talking about another thing, about a thing called aphantasia, which is the inability to visualize anything. And I've suffered for that for my entire life, the complete inability to see pictures in your imagination. And I always thought I was just a terrible person, because I can't imagine my mum's face or my kid's face or any of that, anything. And I always thought, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do that to make me a bad person? And then he explained this thing. I was like, oh my God, I've been suffering that my whole life. So it's weird. People have to be talking about stuff for you to have any clue that exists. Otherwise, you just think it's you.
Just think you're mental. Yeah. There's a mention as well. I think it is in Agree to Argue. It might be in another episode. But there's a mention of Justin. I don't know if this was Justin or if it was one of his mates. They stole a fruit machine from a pub. Now, that is fucking insane. Like, I'm all up for a traffic cone. I'm all up for a couple of pint glasses. But to steal a fixture from the pub, like, you must wake up in the morning and be like, why the fuck is that here?
Well, I think it is key to point out that he was a heavy drinker until very recently, and he's completely quit. And Yeah, he's got a lot of stories like that. But yeah, just that thing of like, well, what are we gonna do with this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you take it back? Do you like someone is losing a lot of money over a fruit machine disappearing?
Yeah.
That's insane, isn't it?
Yeah, that is
Like
mental. I love it.
we took a bar stool. I remember we took a bar stool once and being like, oh my god, I can't believe we got away with a bar stool. But yeah, he stole a fruity.
There we go.
Incredible.
So I usually listen to your podcast when I'm out jogging, and I'm not afraid to admit when I heard that, I actually had to stop because I thought I was having a cardiac arrest because I was laughing so hard.
There's no better
yeah.
there's no better compliment than that.
There we go. Yeah, clip that. But yeah, awesome. So life as a comedian. How do you handle hecklers?
Well, it's a good question. Because everyone does it in a different way. But I think it's key to point out that a heckler now, it's not as common as you think
Yeah.
that someone would do it. And often it will be rather than some sort of insult, it'll be a comment. So I do a lot of emceeing, a lot of hosting. So, for example, the other day I was midway through a bit, and then someone said something like, I can't even remember how it started, but he said something. I was like, "What was that?" And he said, "Well, you don't look like." I can't remember. Like, for example, you don't look like a comedian.
Right.
I don't think that's what it was. And I was like, "Well, what do I look like?" And he said, "Oh, you look like James Corden if he was a plumber." And I was like, "Well, that's the best thing I've ever heard. Like, that is amazing." So that you would say is a heckle. Like it wasn't part of the show. He said it, and then later on, then he was a scaffolder. I got talking to him. I'd take that opportunity. If he's prepared to talk, then I'm prepared to talk to him.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
kind of how I feel with these guys. If they're shouting out, then I will give you enough rope to either hang yourself or
Yeah.
I will milk you for all the good. Because if a heckler gets a laugh or someone in the audience gets a laugh and you're on stage, that's your laugh.
Yeah.
I know that seems a weird thing to say, but
Mm.
the audience, if they're laughing, they're not thinking, "Oh, we really did laugh," but it was the guy in the third row
Yeah.
that got us laughing. They're just
Yeah.
like, "We had a great night. Who was on stage?"
Yeah, yeah.
So he was a scaffolder, and I said, "Oh, what's the tallest building you've ever done scaffolding on?" And he said, "Madame Two Swords." And I said, "Oh, well, that's how you know about celebrity lookalikes then." And the audience didn't respond. They didn't laugh, and I was like, "No, surely that's good." Like, it just so happened he did a celebrity lookalike, and he'd worked at Madame Two Swords, and I was like, so it can go badly.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
yeah,
could think
yeah.
you're being clever, but it's not. But ultimately, what I do is I tend to, because some people just destroy them, be horrible. I love to talk to them or say, "What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?" If they say something, it's really funny sometimes to just go to them, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And get them to break it down. Because what you have to realize when you're in a comedy audience is the guy on stage is sober, he's trained, or they're trained, they're sober, and their adrenaline is pumping. You are drunk, you're sitting down, your adrenaline isn't pumping, and you are not trained. So 9 times out of 10, if you're taking on a comic, even the shittest comic, they're going to have the tools in their arsenal to do something with it.
Yeah.
So I like to, if someone's brave enough to say something, I'm more than happy to come and talk to them and deal with it. And 9 times out of 10, I will win. Whatever winning is, I will win.
Yeah, I think that's how I approach people. I don't get heckled.
Yeah.
It'd be a bit weird at the office to be, "You're shit," But
that's the thing, isn't it? It is weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing to do. It's a weird confidence to have to go, I'm going to shout out at this guy.
Yeah.
But then I love to do a thing where I will often say, like, one of the biggest laughs you can get from it, a thing that I do is I say, "Look, you've tried heckling there and it hasn't worked. So let me give you a hint. It's got to be quick. That's most important. It's got to be quick. What you say has got to be quick. It's got to make sense. That's secondary importance to quickness, but it is important that it does make sense. And third, I've got to understand it. Like you've got to make it clear." And then they will try again and heckle. And one of those things they will mess up. Like it'll just be I'll just say, "That was quick, well done." It made sense, but like it was just a noise coming out your mouth or whatever,
Yeah.
or it didn't make any sense. What you said there didn't make any sense, or you weren't quick enough. It was too late, and that's quite a nice way to deal with it. Like literally give them the rules, and they will break the rules every time. You know what I mean? It's got to be funny. So quick, makes sense, be funny.
Yeah.
So you can go, that was funny. It did make sense, but it wasn't fast enough. You're too slow, and you can do that, and then you've won. You'll win every time.
Yeah. Just analysing it alone helps.
If you really break it down, and I think it's funny, and they get destroyed, it's a way of destroying them because you just go, no, mate, it's not working. You keep trying to heckle, but it's not working. And it's always
fair enough. Just 2 more questions on comedy. We might segue back into this at some point in the future, but one of my biggest downfalls is public speaking. I'm quite a confident, extroverted individual, and I will talk to anyone that's willing to talk, like yourself. How do you approach public speaking enough to get on stage and potentially perform and bomb?
Because it's difficult to explain, but from 11 years old, it was a thing that was growing in me to force me to do it. I just wanted to do it. I wanted to be center of attention, but also like I do not want to be center of attention outside of a comedy gig. I do not want to be. I want to be out in the corner. I don't, it's fine for people to talk to me. I don't mean that, but I mean, I don't want that. But if I'm in a little group of my mates or doing a gig, I want you to hear the thing I've got to say. And I think there's a thing that goes in a comedian's brain that is this like constantly on the beat of everything someone's saying. Is that funny? Can I say something funny? And I used to have this thing where it was like the words were waiting to fall out of my mouth and I had to grip words back in. So then to get the opportunity to go on stage and just go, I'm just going to say these things. It's this really weird arrogance to being a comedian, because you have to be super likable, because even if you're a comedian that is an arsehole on stage, you've got to be likable. You've got to be approachable, and they've got to, they don't, people don't like, comedians that people don't like won't do very well.
Yeah.
So there's this weird arrogance that you've got to go, I'm the funniest person in this room, but I'm also going to be likable and nice. So I'm going to walk up on this stage in front of 300 people, but it's mad to think I'm going to go up on this stage, but I'm not sure whether I'm going to be funny. So it's a really weird thing. Like if someone come up to you and went, I'm the funniest person in this room, you'd go, well, you're an arrogant prick.
Yeah.
But if you don't think that, you've got no right in getting up on stage.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's a really weird situation. But for me, I used to get nervous very early on. I got nervous. I still never not wanted to do it. But I used to, before I went on, I used to go, I hate this bit. The second before you go on, that 5 seconds you're waiting in the wings to go on, I hated it. And then my heart rate would rise. And then so I genuinely did some, sounds a bit wanky, but some meditation stuff just to lower my heart rate. Like there was a couple of little tiny tricks that I would do before every gig in that minute before I went on to lower my heart rate. And then from that moment, I don't have to do that anymore. I have no nerves. I have no fear. I have no concern. No matter the gig, I've done gigs in front of, I think, like I did the Reading Hexagon, and that was 1,800 people. And that is no different to 10 people in a pub. It makes no difference.
That's interesting.
And it is just about, I am going out there and I'm going to talk. I'm going to say this thing. We'll see how it goes. Now, when I MC, I don't do material. A lot of time, if it's a good gig, I won't do any material at all. It will just be talking to the audience. And once you've started doing that, there is no point having nerves, because if you can walk out on that stage, up the creek in Greenwich is bear pit, 300 people, very rowdy, often drunk. If you can walk out there without a piece of material to talk about and just go, I'm going to step you. I imagine you're stepping into this void, this dark void. And if you can do that, you can do anything, genuinely, in terms of comedy. You can go anywhere and talk.
So. Do you think it starts small, like you perform to your family, or like a lot of comedians, when I ask them, how did you know you want to be a comedian? They'll say, I used to, like at christenings and at like New Year's Eve things, I used to juggle and I used to be a clown and I'd get a laugh. And I think if you can do that at a low level, especially your family can be fucking brutal. You can scale it up to, Wembley Arena, for example, someone like Lee Evans. Do you reckon that's the key, is starting small?
For lots of people, you hear that story, don't they? Oh, from a kid, he was a natural performer. But that wasn't the case for me. Like, that wasn't the case. I just had this thing inside me that I wanted to do it. I don't want to perform in that situation at all. It's almost the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Like, when people say, like, I'm not, like, I hear about some comedians, they're on the dance floor, they're the guys who are like putting their ties on their heads, taking their trousers off and dancing at the wedding. That I'm the opposite of that. I'm not very social at all. I've never been social. Even my best friends would be like, oh, why don't you ever want to do anything? Why don't you, not being antisocial. Well, I guess it is antisocial. So I didn't have that at all. I'm the opposite of that. I want you to leave me alone. Not you. And it's only now that I'm getting to the point where after a gig, I always found it really difficult. I always wanted to put my head down and walk out the gig, get in my car and go home.
Yeah.
And then people sort of said to me the importance of not doing that and seeing the people you've made laugh and have them come up to you and go, oh, that was great. I enjoyed that. And you go, and thank you very much. That was great. And have a conversation. But my thing was always, I want to go on, do that. That's for me. It was like it was for me. It wasn't for anyone else. And I need to adjust that slightly. I still need to adjust it slightly. But it can be. I think it can be various things. It can be that you're a natural performer generally, or it can be that you have this thing you need to get out.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
That's it for me.
Yeah, I think it's important to get feedback. So, if you're on tour, for example, everyone talks about like getting that perfect hour, don't they? Everyone talks about that holy grail, Netflix special or something like that. And Frankie Boyle, for example, he'll just go to his local pub and just thrash out a load of material, and he'll know what's good and what's shit just from that local.
Only way. It's the only way. We've got a gig in Southend at the Alex. It's a pub in Southend. It's run by a guy called Ross McGrain, and it's a great room. You can go down there with 5 minutes written on a scrap of paper, and you can try it, and it'll fly or die, basically.
Yeah.
But I mean, you get a good idea of if something's got legs as soon as you think of it, but then it's developing it. The best way to write for me is to say it over and over and over, and just when you're on stage and you've got adrenaline, little nuggets cling together, and so you have a little tiny bullet point of an idea, and you go on stage, and adrenaline is a hell of a drug, and it will make your brain work, and it will that's how you develop stuff. Totally.
That's it. Fight or flight instinct kicks in, I imagine, sometimes.
It definitely does. Well, that's the beauty of it. It's harnessing that. It's like, that is what it's there for. You harness it. It's almost fight. Instead of flight, it's fight. But fighting being, I'm going to talk.
Yeah, fight with words.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So, who are your top 3 favourite comedians?
Well, the sadly departed Norm Macdonald, the Canadian American comic who died last year, was my absolute favourite. He was incredible. I loved him. I loved everything about him. And he died last year. He had cancer that he kept secret for years. But I love him. I recommend anyone go and watch Norm Macdonald. But I think it's difficult you shouldn't have to say prefix things, but it's like, he's different. He's different from the stuff you see, because I don't really a lot of stuff on TV. I've got friends that do TV, Love at the Apollo and stuff like that, but it's not like that. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
I always love Frank Skinner because he's so quick. I like his earlier stuff. When he was, when there was that lad culture. I didn't like lad culture, but he seemed to be chucked into that. But he was so clever and so fast. Probably the fastest comedian I've ever seen, Frank Skinner, and so funny. And a friend of mine, other than Justin Panks, of course, who's in there as well. I think he's exceptional. But Tapeface, who is a friend of mine, and I think is the most perfect and pure comedy performer I've ever seen. I don't know if you're aware of Tapeface, but
is he local to you?
No, he's a New Zealand act.
Oh, right.
He now lives in Las Vegas, and I heartily recommend you and any of your viewers, listeners, go and check him out. He's world famous, but he doesn't talk. He's got gaffer tape over his mouth, and he performs mini scenes. And I've supported him on tour. I've done tech for him. I've been all over Europe with him, and
Yeah.
he is just pure comedy, genuinely,
Okay.
in a way that I can't describe.
Yeah. I'm
But yeah,
writing it
and
down now.
Justin Panks. And I know it's wanky to say, but Justin, I think, is the best. He was the best on the open mic circuit when I started. He is one of the best comedians I have ever gigged with, and he's one of the best comedians I can see. And I know he's my friend. I know he's my comedy partner. But if it was a different time, he would be super famous. He should be anyway, but he would be massive. But there is, he's doing what he's doing. I think he's happy doing what he's doing. But if he'd started 10 years earlier, he'd probably be a household name now.
Yeah. Just on Justin, do you meet up regularly with him, or is it just through the podcast?
Yeah, well, we did. Obviously, COVID took a massive chunk of that out. But yeah, we gig together fairly regularly, just because that's what happens. But yeah, we did. We'd get together a lot. But yeah, over the last couple of years, obviously, it was impossible. But we have. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, he was here. But yeah, it's a strange thing now, isn't it? Because you can be. Like, I speak to him every single day, and we podcast. We do 2 podcasts a week.
Yeah.
One regular one for Patreon, and we do video stuff. And it is strange that you can go, oh, I haven't actually seen I probably saw him twice during lockdown when we were allowed to see people.
Yeah.
It's weird, for like 2 years I probably saw him twice, but I spoke to him every day. It's strange.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, nice. Let's give your Patreon a shout out, because I think it's worth every penny. I'm planning to back you at some point, or to donate to your Ko-fi or something like that. So Ash and Justin, Panks and Firth podcast. You've got a few tiers, haven't you? And some of them actually involve you getting someone on as a guest, which is quite cool.
Yeah, that's been really good. We've got a couple we've still got to do actually. So yeah, we do. It's a real fine balance, because we're aware that sort of, no one necessarily knows who we are, but we've been doing it for years, and we've got a really nice group of followers, a really nice little, and there's a Discord that comes with it, and the people chat on there. Sometimes, like, we aren't involved in the Discord. We go on there and chat, but it's not us running it. So if there's things on there that, anyway, but it's this good little group of people. And lots of them are Ashens fans and Digitizer fans and Cheap Show fans. You'll see the same names coming up, which is brilliant. And they're so interactive and so generous and so creative as fans. And so, yeah, it's a difficult balance. So we were giving 1 podcast a month for like $1. We were giving them an extra podcast. And then we started doing 2 podcasts a week for free. And then we were like, well, why don't we just make that second podcast Patreon? Then they can have 4 or 5 podcasts extra a week rather than that one. So we've just started doing that, and I think that's a good balance. Like, so they get the regular podcast, then a Patreon podcast for $1, which is about 78p or something.
Yeah.
And that's working out really well. That seems to make so much more sense. But we do a video every month, like a video podcast, which people seem to like. And then, like you say, for like 12 quid or 25 quid, I don't know what it is, but it's people can be on the podcast. And that goes, like, the funny thing about that is it will literally just be whatever happens, because there's no script or plan or ploy. It will just be like, so we had a young guy on called Sam who he's just started doing stand-up. And we talked to him, and he was asking advice, and we talked, and then people were like, oh, you just talked over poor Sam. He's not poor Sam, he deserved it. But then it was like, no, that's what it was. That's what he wanted. And then other people come on and they bring like loads of questions, or they've got loads of opinions. So it's a really nice way. I know I think me and Justin we both struggle a little bit with our own worth. Like, you know what I mean? It's very difficult to go to someone, oh, do you want to pay for this thing that we do? It's really hard, because there is a value to it, and it is time, and there is a value on my time. You've got to put a value on your time.
Yeah.
And it is also very difficult to go. I know you do Ko-fi, don't you? It's difficult to
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Oh, I do this.
Mm.
So do you want to help?
Yeah. I've massively struggled with asking for money in any capacity of my entire life. So when people do, I'm like, but I also don't want to just spaff it on Monster. Do you know what I mean? Or I want it to go to something, which is why I've said if people donate to Ko-fi, it will help with the gear to record this.
Well, that's what we have done. That is genuinely what we've done. We've got, I've got a brilliant mic in front of me. I've got a stream deck. I've got a light. I've got I'm in a room that is for streaming and podcasting. There's soundproofing on the walls. There's soundproofing on the doors. That's all come from Patreon money.
Nice.
Like, bits and pieces here and there, and that's what it's for. And it used to be like the $1 a month, as we would say, put a beer in our hands, but I don't really drink, and Justin's completely stopped, so it's not that anymore. We've changed it to
the guest episode with Sam, is that Sam the King 25 from Twitch?
It is.
He's loving it, isn't he? Shout out to Sam.
Good old Sam. He's a good lad. He's just trying his what's the word? Trying his arm at stand up. I don't know what the expression is. And he's just starting out. It's difficult trying his hand.
That's it.
It's difficult because when you start, you've no idea how to write. You've no idea who you are on stage or what your persona is going to be or what you want to talk about. And he's doing well. I've seen a few of his videos. He's getting better with each one.
Nice.
So
there we go. Yeah, he's always on your Twitch streams. I occasionally pop in now and then, and I host you when I can and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I enjoy when people silence him.
Yeah, I think I was there for your first subscriber because you were just playing Polybridge. Because you've got some plans with that, haven't you? Did you want to? I don't know if you can announce them or not. But
I can definitely. It's just taking a long time.
Let's do it.
So I play Polybridge at the moment. I'm building up a following on there. But I've got this thing, and I don't know if you've seen Barshens, much of Barshens, but I did a thing on there which was I've done it on stage. This random movie generator. So I took the top 100 films from IMDb. And I split them into their individual words. And then I put them into this randomizer and then bring up 2 words, and that's the film. And then we talk about that film as if it's a real film.
Yeah.
So, for example, the first one I ever did on stage, it was at Richard Sandling's Perfect Movie, which is a brilliant comedy night. And my first one, I got the ass from Kick-Ass and the blood from First Blood. So the first one I ever did was Ass Blood. And I was on stage. I was like, "Well, this is the winning format. If I'm getting ass blood as the first thing." And so then I wanted to do that. I thought that's a good thing. I've done it on stage. It always works well. And then a guy I know is a software developer, and he was like, "I could build you a piece of software to get that. You could just do it. You could do it on stream. You press a button. It all does this." So then I've come up with some other things to add to it. But since I've had those ideas, the guy has had a baby at the same time as me, and then been ill with COVID. And so we're on the verge of it all being done. Like literally, for the last 2 weeks, it's been like, can we get a meeting? Can we get a meeting? Can we get a meeting to talk it through, to have it looking good? I want to do it and it look good. I watch other people's streams. I go, oh, wow, they look professional. They look great. Yeah. I want it to look good. But it's just going to be that. I'm going to get a guest on, however often it is. And we're going to invent some films, and we're going to talk about these made-up films. And that's what it's going to be. And I think it's going to be great. I really do think it's great. It's always been great every time. I did it with Ashens and Barry on Barshens before, and it's just great.
Yeah. It's good in a way that you've set Twitch up pre that, because it's enabled you to get all the niggles and all of the...
Well, I don't know about all of them.
All the kinks, and I've seen you develop quite a lot since you started Twitch. You didn't even have a starting streaming in 5 minutes. You would just go live. Yeah. And there'd be times where you'd be like, "What the fuck is going on with Twitch?" And I'm having to try and be your technical support guy whilst you're streaming. Right click the taskbar.
What the fuck
is going on?
I
Yeah.
don't know how to use a computer. I remember you doing that. You
Yeah.
pinned your taskbar out.
Yeah. That's it.
But I'm still like that, and like sometimes I'll zoom in on my face when I'm playing Polybridge, and then I'll start playing again, and people just go, "All we can see is your face."
Yeah.
But I think that's endearing. I think
Yeah.
people want to see that.
Yeah. Gives you a bit
like,
of
I
a
know what I'm
human
doing. Yeah, and
human
obviously I've
quality.
been doing the incredible streams with Ashens. For about a year or so now. We've been it's got to be longer than a year. I've been living in this house a year, so it must be a year and a half. We've been streaming the Argos catalogue, me and Ashens, for about a year and a half. We're on a Sears catalogue. Have you seen those? You have, haven't
I
you?
haven't seen those.
I thought you'd been in one of them.
Seen those.
So for a year and a half, every month, me and Ashens have been going through either an Argos catalogue from the 80s or we're on the Sears catalogue 1986 at the moment. And we do it page by page. It's like 3 hours of stream. 1,000 people are watching us. And we just turn each page, digitally turn the page. We talk about what's on there. And
I'll have to check them
1,000
out.
people watch.
I'll have to check that out. I've not seen
watch
that.
it live. Don't go back. You don't need to catch up. It's not like a box set you need to
It's in the
catch up.
past for a reason.
Exactly, yeah. And
Brilliant.
that's so successful that we're talking about doing it as a touring show. Like genuinely, we're talking about going to theatres and touring the catalogue show. We're talking about doing it at like Comic Cons and things like that. People love it. It's brilliant. My dad, when I tell my dad, he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we review a catalogue." He's like, "There's no way to make a living." But turns out
There we go.
that is.
Prove him wrong. There we go. Awesome. Yeah, I love Ashens. Just the fact that I managed to record with him so early on into this is just feels a bit weird, to be honest. Yeah, it's really nice that he emailed me and we set it up so quickly because
he's so genuine and he's so honest and
brilliant.
Incredibly funny, incredibly nice, incredibly giving.
Yeah.
You know, I can't thank him enough. Like I say, a lot of my audience, a lot of Pranks and Firth audience is because of him, and they're the same people, and there's this great community, a supportive community, and I love it. I think it's great. I really do.
It's awesome. Yeah, nice. So, Anatomical Bomb, he was on. He does something called a top 10, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah, I've done it. Yeah.
So you went on that, and what was your chosen subject?
So the idea is you do the most boring thing possible. Like that is what you were told beforehand. It's got to be as dull as possible. And my top 10 list was lists.
That was it.
So I did my 10 favorite lists.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very meta.
Yeah.
Very pleased with myself.
Yeah, I remember you saying you like the idea of breaking something. So you wanted to try and break the format. Yeah, that was it. I remember.
Maybe that's true. But I think here, Anatomical Bomb, Dan, again, it's this pure heart of comedy, and I love it so much. When I see people who have got that a weird vibe, it's like an aura that comes off of them, where what they're doing is so natural and pure and from the heart. Biffo's got it. Gannon and Eli have got it. Ashens has got it.
Yeah.
Like I say, Tape Face. I love it so much. There's these guys who are in a sketch comedy group that I work with a lot called they're called Unmistakable Scent of Leopard is their name. And when I watch them perform, I've never laughed like it. You know, they'd be in my favorite comedians as well, their group. But this thing of just like they're just going, look, we're having fun. Like, regardless, people will come.
Yeah.
If you in comedy, if you do what you want to do, you will find your audience. If you stick to your guns, and I love it when people do that. They're just like, I'm doing this thing. Like, imagine that we're going to do a show which is the most boring list you can possibly come up with. We're going to do it for 2 hours or an hour, or whatever. And then you get hundreds of people watching because it doesn't matter what you're doing. It matters what you are or what you are doing rather than the
it's the person behind it.
Love it.
That's the first and foremost thing. If that person's entertaining, they could review windscreen wipers. It doesn't matter.
Exactly that. It's the same as stand-up. Like you can talk about anything in stand-up. One of the best bits of live stand-up I've ever seen was Rob Beckett talking about making squash.
Yeah.
And that was I remember wanting to stop because I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I'll have to check that out.
If you come up with the idea of, I'm just going to do this bit about making squash, You
Mm.
just go, no, it's rubbish. What a
Yeah.
stupid idea. But it's the way you deliver it. It's the way you are.
Yeah. Nice. So off the back of the anatomical bomb episode, I want to ask you, Ash Frith, what your favourite kitchen utensil is.
Lovely question. Lovely question. I like is it a spaghetti spoon? You know,
Yeah.
it's like a deep spoon with like
Yeah.
fingers
Mm.
almost and a hole in the middle. I use
Yeah.
that for a lot more than spaghetti though.
Mm.
I use that for stirring stuff. I use it. I'm vegan. I'll use it to flip vegan bacon over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that thing. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a spoon with fingers.
Spoon with fingers. There we go. That's your answer.
What's your favourite?
Spatula. I
Oh
like a
yeah.
good spatula. Yeah.
When we've
Yeah.
got
Sometimes.
silicon stuff, I like
Mm.
that. Like with the silicon stuff, I like you can almost get
Mm.
everything clean before you finish cooking, so you barely
Mm.
have to wash up.
Yeah. You like your washing up, don't you?
I do. Well, that's weird that you know that, but yeah, I do. That's one of
You're
my
saying
favourite things.
on stream you find it quite therapeutic.
I love washing up. I
Yeah.
genuinely do. The more washing up, the better. I'd love to work in a restaurant just washing up.
Mm.
Like that'd be my with a podcast on, headphones in,
Yeah.
just stand there. No one bothers you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the one time when no one's bothering you. I can't even go to the toilet with no one bothering me anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got little kids and a wife.
Mm-hmm.
So no one wants to be around the washer upper.
Yeah.
Because they think you're going to get them to do the drying up.
Yeah.
So they just leave you alone. I listen to podcasts. I do my best thinking standing by the sink. Genuinely.
It's a bit of a life hack, that one, if anyone wants to write that down.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Love it. Right, so what else have we got? Quick shout out to Papa Glitch, because
Oh yeah, Chris.
Chris Pierce, is it? Let's check. Chris
No,
Price.
Purchase.
Purchase, that's it. I knew it was something to do with money. Price, purchase. Yeah, whatever. Shout out to
So,
Papa Glitch. What a legend.
I met Chris. He's obviously stand up as well. We gigged together in this converted toilets in Hammersmith. Gig called Giglick. It was these underground toilets that got turned into a comedy club, basically, or it turned into a club.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing him. I was on with a guy who it was an absolute twat. Like this guy was a bellend. It's very rare in like I've only met a few bellends doing stand up, and this guy was an absolute bellend. And Chris was really good. He'd been going longer than me, and I just remember him being, lots of nice advice, very calming. And I kept a diary at the time. And when I moved house, I remember I looked through the book and I saw this thing, and it was just like he was in total control. He was emceeing it. I think it was he, or did he open? No, he opened. And I remember writing in this book, just like I saw him in control of the room. And I was like, that's where I want to be. That's what I want to be. Because I would just go on and go, I'm going to do this. Whether I don't know how long I was doing, 10 or 15, whatever at that point.
Yeah.
And I remember it would be, I had to do that 10. It would have to be bap, 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 and then done. And I saw him just relax. He was in the room. He was talking. He was very present when he was doing it.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing him and being like, that's how I want to be.
Yeah.
So, and that was quite early on. So
yeah, go check him out on Twitch as well as Ash. Obviously, we've got him on Absolute 2nd of May, so that's not too far away.
Lovely man, and you make sure that you tell him that I said hello.
I will do, no problem.
I haven't seen him. We haven't crossed paths for years.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll occasionally communicate.
Nice.
Twitter.
So I just want to quickly talk about you being OCD and also being obsessed with Guns N' Roses, because you mentioned that in the Pranks and Firth podcast, that you were obsessed with Guns N' Roses for a couple of years.
Yeah,
and
I was.
I was as well. So I used to be in a band called Desert Rose, and we were basically Guns N' Roses personified, but we were just in a seaside town rather than in LA.
Less heroin.
We had a lot less heroin, and we had a bit of a god complex of the singer that would literally dress like Axl Rose, and it would be all he wanted to do. He wanted to just cover the whole of Appetite for Destruction, Use Your Illusion, etc., etc. So yeah, just wanted to mention that because a bit of fan service.
I love heavy music, but I say that I've got these real tight parameters that I can't even explain.
Mm,
So I like heavy music, but I don't really like heavy metal.
yeah.
So I really enjoyed those Guns N' Roses songs where it was really fast paced, high
Yeah.
tempo music. And I hate the slow stuff. I hate November Rain. I hate Sweet Child of Mine. But I know they're the
Yeah.
ones that people love. But I'm like, oh no, guess
Yeah.
Caravan. I've always thought there's this weird thing with that. There's a weird mix of. I know these guys were proper rock and roll superstars.
Mm.
And I know they were, women and drugs and booze. But then it seems really weird that those same guys would be wearing lycra and singing "Sweet Child of Mine."
Yeah. I know what you mean.
It really doesn't. It's really weird. Like, what bit isn't true? I don't get it.
Yeah. No, I get you. Oh, my mum's just messaged me. Sorry, bear with me 2
Oh, yeah,
seconds.
that's fine.
I like getting stuff like that on the recording because it makes me sound like I'm actually a human being. My mum didn't. No, I'm joking. So, Digitizer.
Yes.
I was obsessed with Digitizer to the point where I just randomly emailed Mr. Biffo himself, Paul Rose, and he replied to me saying, "Yeah, I'm up for coming on. I'm not a huge YouTuber, but I'll have you." And he came on and we had a right good chat. And shout out to him because he's doing some things on YouTube and he's done quite a lot of live shows. And I think that kind of ties in nicely with the whole level 2 or series 2 thing that he's trying to do. So we can talk about that in a minute. But how did you meet Paul?
That's a great question. I presume it was through Cheap Show,
Yeah,
but I don't remember. I do remember sort of falling in love with him. Like,
yeah,
that instant love.
yeah,
I felt that straight away. I felt very like a kindred spirit to a certain extent.
mm,
And like I say, he's got this heart and this comedy. I
yeah,
remember watching his stuff and just going, this is exactly it.
yeah,
It's sometimes so niche, sometimes so
mm,
on the fringe, and it's pure because it literally comes out of him like that.
yeah,
And I love that. I love it. I love living and dying by your belief
yeah,
and not adjusting it for other people, not adjusting it to go, oh, that's a bit much. People might not get it. Do it, trust it, live with it. And that's what he does. And he get
yeah,
his audience because there's enough people that find that sort of shit
yeah,
funny. And it takes a very special brain. I love
mm,
absurdist stuff. I love things that are like art that is
mm,
not random because that's such a cliche word now, but
yeah,
like stuff that is just, this is how I'm thinking it, this is
yeah.
how it's going out. I love that, and that's
If
what he does.
if I could see anyone's whiteboard in the world, I would love to see Paul's because it would just be like a little bit of a Tony Harrison drawing, and then it would be the word beans with like 4 Z's, and it's
Well,
just
Tony Harris made me
mental.
laugh.
Yeah, that
Like
was a
when I
very
did
good
the last
video.
digitizer, I was gone.
Yeah,
I was gone, and it also scares me a little bit. Like
yeah,
genuinely scares me a little
yeah,
bit. And he was
yeah.
so ill that day, it turned
Was
out
he?
as well. That was the funny
Oh,
thing. Yeah, he was like, he nearly passed out doing that scene. Afterwards, he was like, oh, I really don't feel well. But we were there all day because that
yeah.
was the night we recorded Urine Vision as well, the cheap
Ah,
show.
right. Okay.
That was all on the same day.
Bloody hell.
But
Yeah.
again, I've not seen him for, probably 9 months now.
Mm,
And that's tragic because these people, I speak to Gannon and Eli regularly, but to not sort of see them, I love
yeah.
seeing them. It
Yeah.
enriches your life. It's like it tops up your fuel bank levels. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To go and
Yeah.
spend time with these people, it just gives you
Definitely.
something that
Yeah.
energizes you.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. I think Paul, the way he stays in character and he doesn't laugh, I don't know how he does that. I don't know many people that can do that to that level.
No.
Where obviously you had a full on like laughter fit. And I think
Yeah,
it
I
got to a
think maybe
certain
this is it.
point where I think if I was Paul, I'd be like, this is fucking crazy. But he
I
just
think maybe
stayed in that zone of like,
I
yeah,
think he's in the character.
yeah,
Genuinely, I think he goes into the character. I
yeah,
think that's again testament to the character because I think he's like a method actor.
Yeah.
He kind of is that person.
Yeah, yeah,
Genuinely,
yeah.
when he's Venus, he is Venus for that time. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
otherwise you can't flow like they
Mm,
do. You know, like if someone I've gigged with many a character comic and like Lee Nelson, I don't know if you remember Lee
Yeah,
Nelson.
yeah, yeah.
His real name is Simon Brodkin. So he wouldn't come into the gig until it was his time to go on because he had to be in character. And when he's so fast, like not necessarily my favorite kind of humor, but he was one of the fastest, cleverest comedians I've ever seen. Lee Nelson,
Yeah.
just amazing. And but he had to come in as Lee Nelson. He couldn't come in as Simon Brodkin.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I
he had
get
to be
that.
in character and he didn't want to be an arsehole.
Mm.
So I think that might be the same with Paul Rose. I think he might just literally have to be. He lives Venus.
Yeah. Might have to drop him an email at some point, actually. Yeah, he follows me on Twitter now, so shout out to Paul.
Oh,
there we go. So I've got a bit of a shout out, if you don't mind. If you want to grab a drink or something, stand by. Got Archie Soul, always hooking me up with beard oil, body wash, stuff from the States that you can't usually get in the UK without paying a massive custom fee. Duke Cannon, face wash, and of course the tried and tested beard comb from Darwin's Grooming. If you are interested in any of this stuff, then go to www.archiesoul.com and put the code in at Bedlam2022 for 20% off. And off the back of that, also give a shout out to the local barbers who are interested in doing some stuff with me. Dom from Blushing Barbers. I want to get that right because it's the first time I've ever given him a shout out.
You have to,
absolutely. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got written down. I've got some quick fire questions if you want to give them a go.
Let's do it.
Right, where the fuck are they? Right, okay. So, I know the first one off the top of my head. Baby Bell or cheese string?
I'm vegan, so a vegan Baby Bell, please.
Vegan, do they exist?
Yeah, they've just come out.
Are they
my
green?
Wife thought it tasted like. Yeah, they are. My wife thought it tasted like sick, whereas I thought it was delicious.
Fair enough. More for you. Is a Kinder Egg a deliciously chocolate treat, or is it just a shit bit of chocolate with a toy inside of it, and you're only interested in the toy?
My daughter loves a Kinder Egg. We have Wednesdays our egg shop day where she goes to the local shop and gets a Kinder Egg. So I have a very special place in my heart because she loves them so much. So Kinder Egg is a fantastic treat for all the family.
There we go. Not sponsored. Would you prefer to camp in a tent or in a static caravan?
Oh, wow. I mean, these are quick fire, and that stumped me.
It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it?
That's tough. What can I ask about the tent? Am I allowed to ask questions or just be quick?
No, it's fine. Yeah.
So is it like can I stand up in the tent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an okay tent. It's a sort of, it's not Poundland, but it's not Mountain Warehouse. It's kind of, you probably saw it in the Argos catalogue.
Oh, I'll go Caravan. I want
mid-range.
A guy I know has got an inflatable tent. Like all the struts are inflatable.
Right.
And it looks incredible. Like you can stand up in every aspect, every part of the tent. You can walk through it and round.
All right.
It's incredible. You pump it up, goes rock solid. But
fantastic.
Yeah, I'd go Caravan probably. Yeah.
Fair enough. Would you prefer to live in the city or the countryside?
Countryside, definitely.
Nice. Chocolate or sweets?
Sweets. I don't eat chocolate.
Bath or shower?
I love a bath. Love a bath. Yeah, when we bought this house. I don't like the bathroom here, but they've got a massive bath. That is one of the big selling points of this house. Is the bath is like a big man like me can fully submerge.
Yeah. So you've got a big bath and a panic room in your house.
Yeah, this is my panic room. Like when the baby starts, I know he's gonna go. This door is closed and I can't hear a thing through it. Absolutely incredible.
Nice. So we've got one more. It's not really a quick fire question. It's just a question I ask everyone. Always, when I say that, just breaking the fourth wall, when I always say this is a question I always ask, it usually isn't, but I'm trying my best here, people. We've also got a minor inconvenience, and I haven't thought of any, so I might go off your one. First things first, though, there's a maximum security prison, Ash, right? You will get £10,000 every night that you stay in that maximum security prison, but we cannot guarantee your safety. How many nights would you be willing to stay in that prison?
6 months.
What's that?
Can no one contact me? Can I be on my own? Can I have podcasts?
You can podcast if you're on good behaviour.
Can I listen to podcasts? I don't want a podcast. Can I listen to podcasts?
Oh, God. Can you listen to podcasts? If you've downloaded them offline.
Oh, well, I'm currently listening to Auntie Donna, and there's 300 of them.
Yeah.
300.
Okay.
How many? Yeah, I reckon I could. Actually, it'd be incredible. Yeah, I'm up for that. Yeah, can we arrange that?
Yeah. I can sort that out. Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
I reckon 3 to 6 months. Absolutely fine. No problem.
3 to 6 months. So that's about 300 to 600 grand. Is that right?
Yeah, I'll take that. That'd be great.
Nice.
Yes, please. I'll do that. Let's arrange that. Let's sort that out as a little TV show. I'll be well up for it. I wouldn't mind being shivved either. If they want to stab me in the guts, I'll take that. It'll be fine.
300k can get you quite a lot of surgery. So.
Yeah, exactly. They'll fix me up.
Just on that, I've got a really mental story that I need to tell you, and I can't think of anyone better to tell, actually. One of my friends, when I was a kid, he said to one of his friends, and I overheard this, and I just wanted to be the observer in this situation. Would you eat dog shit for £10,000? This isn't me asking you, by the way. This is just an observation.
I would, yeah. Go on.
He said to his mate, I would do it, and then I would buy £10,000 worth of toothpaste.
No, for fuck's sake.
Why would you do it if that is your plan?
He doesn't deserve it.
So there we go.
Deserve it.
That's my childhood, basically.
But yeah, I would do it. A little bit of inconvenience. There was always that thing as a kid where it'd be like, oh, would you have sex with a man for 2 million quid? I'd be like, no. And now I'd be like, yeah, of course I would. Like, what? It's fine. It'd be fine. People do it for fun.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I? Get on it.
Absolutely.
I might trigger something. Something like some light might go off, and I go, that's the thing. Turns out that's my thing.
I think that might be a bit of material if you want to write that down.
Yeah.
Have you got any minor inconveniences that you want to vent and get off your chest? Could be driving, work life, girlfriend.
Yeah. Minor inconveniences. I can't complain. Genuinely, I am very lucky that I do everything I want to do, and I wouldn't really change much at all, to be honest. I can't think of much. If something I don't like something, I don't do it, and that goes for everything. I see my friends when I want to see my friends. I don't see them when I don't want to. Comedy's good. My football team don't win all the time, but I wouldn't want them to.
Yeah, that would be weird if they won every single match, wouldn't it? Yeah.
It'd be rubbish. It'd be absolutely rubbish.
Just thought of one off the top of my head. The pack that scissors come in.
How'd you get them open?
You have to get scissors to open the pack of scissors. So you end up gnashing them with your teeth.
I've got one. You've just given me a really good one.
Yeah, go on.
That's a great one. You have to have a sharp knife is the answer.
Yeah.
The film on a microwave meal that you can't get off the edge of the tub. Like you pull it off and it just goes into strips.
Yeah.
Why do they make it so stuck? Because that isn't recyclable. The pot can be recycled, but that epoxy film can't.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, that's my one. That is my one. But I don't really eat microwave meals anymore. So,
yeah. No, fair enough.
Fortunately.
Plans for the future. What does the next sort of 6 to 12 months look like for Ash Frith?
Well, very, very lucky that myself and Justin. So I should point out really that it's called Pranks and Firth because people always get our names wrong. My name's Frith, his name is Panks, so people call us Pranks and Firth.
Yep.
So we're very lucky that we've built up enough of a following on the podcast that we are able to. We're going to go and do some shows, a couple of 45-minute shows. So each of us going to do 45 minutes. We're going to Ipswich, we're going to Cambridge, we're going to Southend, and there's more to come. Some people have been in contact. So yeah, I've got to write a show. Panks thinks he's already written his, and we're going to perform it. So this will be my third show. And I want to try and make something that I'm proud of. We're gonna film it, and hopefully we will. We'll see. Like the big one is in September in Southend. That's the one we're filming. But yeah, we're going to be doing sort of. I don't want to call them warm-up shows because they'll probably be basically finished shows. But there's that. So I'm really looking forward to that. And hopefully it's the Twitch thing. It's going to be called I'd Watch That, which is like the made up film thing, and some stuff with Ashens, which hopefully is going to happen in the not too distant future. So
Stay tuned.
yes, good. Stay tuned for that. Yeah.
Of that. So I'm aware that you're a vegan. I think we got, let's have a look on Audacity quickly. I think you got 36 minutes in without mentioning it. So
I did,
shout out.
I did well, didn't I?
You did very well.
New world record.
Proud.
New world record.
Tesco or any other supermarket. If you're on the road, you're about to go to a gig and you think, fuck, I've not eaten dinner. What is your go-to meal deal?
They do a roasted vegetable wrap. I like that for fun. I think if you're not getting McCoy's in that meal deal, you're a buffoon. They're your crisp. They're the most expensive crisp you can buy. They're thick. They're salt and vinegar. It's a winner. And I am obsessed with Pepsi Max. So it'll be a raspberry if they've got it. Lime is the new one they're doing. Cherry or standard Pepsi Max. I really do need to cut it out of my diet, but I'm obsessed with Pepsi Max. So.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Anything Is there anything you want to ask me, or how do you want to end this, basically?
Anything I want to ask you? It's difficult, isn't it? That's a difficult question, considering I didn't know you were going to ask it. Who's your dream guest? Who's your number one other than Ashens and Paul Rose? Who's the big one? You had the guy from Wheatus on, didn't you?
Yeah, Brendan. I still speak to him now. He's a legend.
Yeah, he really is. So who's your number one?
Who's my number one guest? Oh man, I want to say Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
But I think he'd be so high energy that he'd just pummel me into the ground. There's a YouTube show called Hot Ones, which is very, very successful, and it's basically a guest and a host eat chicken wings in succession, and they slowly get hotter. And he interviews the guest whilst doing the challenge that he's doing. And Dave Grohl kind of takes over the episode because he's just a fucking animal and he can just withstand any heat. Who else would I like? I need to think about this. I'd quite like the guys from Royal Blood on.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Because there's only two of them. Russell Brand.
I love it. Oh yeah.
Joe Rogan, but I don't know if he's got much to say because he speaks for 4 hours 3 times a week. So I know everything there is to know about him already. Henry Rollins would be cool.
Oh yeah.
He's got a story. Fucking hell, I've got so many things running through my head. I'd quite like to have a game developer on as well. So I'm quite into my video games when I actually have 5 minutes. That's all I can think of really. PewDiePie.
Good. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that would be cool. And Jacksepticeye as well. Love Jacksepticeye. He's one of PewDiePie's mates.
Yeah, I'm aware of his work.
Fantastic. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Nice. So yeah, well, thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Absolute pleasure. Genuinely.
Absolute pleasure podcast. Tell Justin I said hello.
I will. Get him on.
Is he a tricky one to get on?
It'll be fun to get on, but you just got to ring him. You got to ring him out. But yeah, get him on. Yeah.
wind him up and watch him go. I reckon I'd just leave the
Yeah,
room.
that'd be fun.
Just
He's
talk
great value.
to
I
avoid.
love him, and you'd love
Nice.
it. He'd be good. He'd be a good boy.
Awesome. Plans for Digitizer level 2 or whatever it's called. Have you heard anything from that?
Bits and pieces, but I don't know. It all depends. Like, they do what they do, and same as Cheap Show.
Yeah.
They then sort of throw dates at me, and if I can do them, I love to do them. If I can't do them, other stuff, unfortunately, has to take priority sometimes because we have bills to pay. So
Yeah.
not that they don't pay, don't get me wrong, but sometimes I'm booked to do a stand-up gig, like with the first Digitizer. It was so frustrating because I was gigging that day, and I was not far away from Digitizer, but it just didn't work out. I have to take the gig over doing that sort of stuff. But hopefully hopefully the Cheap Show stuff I'm going to be able to do. And yeah, I'd love to do it. I'd love to.
Awesome. Just quickly for all the listeners out there, from my perspective, I've been very, very ambitious. And I've emailed Rob Chapman of Chapman Guitars, who is nearly at 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and he is a very, very busy individual. Currently lives in Malta. I emailed him on a whim because I was watching one of his documentaries of him traveling the US trying to get Chapman Guitars off the ground, and he's emailed me back. So hopefully we should be able to get him on, which is just another example of me just flinging out an email and getting an email back.
People are much nicer than people think.
Yes, they are. Yeah. I thought Ashens would be quite, I don't know, not aggressive, not bad. Just I thought he'd be kind of like, right, I've got an hour, and then 59 comes across and I got to go, that sort of thing, which I've had in the past, but I understand, But yeah, cool. Right. All good.
Thank you very much.
Nice one.
Take care.
Absolute bedlam.
Archie Soul, as always, hooking me up with the beard wash from Duke Cannon. It's got a hint of oak barrel and Buffalo Trace Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. I know that's backwards, I'm sorry. Got some more Duke Cannon here. Same again, Buffalo Trace. This is a bar of soap, as I've mentioned numerous times now in guest episodes. That's a big boy. Bedlam 2022, once again, will get you 20% off everything on archiesoul.com. And for Christmas, I was very kindly given a £25 bottle of Anthony Sea Kelp Scrub, which is absolutely awesome, and I love it. So that's Archie Soul, www.archiesoul.com. And finally, we have Made Sure, as always. I love fragrances. If anyone knows me in real life, I love candles, I love scents, I love walking into a house and smelling like gingerbread or lemon and lime or strawberries, and I don't think that that's necessarily something that's appreciated by men, and I think it should be, because there's nothing wrong with it. It's always seen as very girly. However, I think that we should normalise it for men. So madesure.pigcartel.com. Bedlam 20, not Bedlam 2022, for 20% off your order. We've got wax melts to suit every emotion, every feeling. We've got Jamaican Me Crazy. This one, you can smell it through the wrapper. It is amazing. It's a really left field scent. It's quite a tropical, fruity smell. We've got lemon and lime. If the camera wants to focus, that would be fantastic. Lemon and lime. There we go. Smell that one as well. They're really powerful, but they're really like sort of punchy, and they are meant to be sort of chunked and sort of separated. You're not meant to put the whole thing in your burner. So yeah, There we go. Pink flamingo as well is the last one I've got to hand. And we've got Averbath here. Averbath. So yeah, just mind-blowing. Everyone that I've ever sent any Made Sure stuff to has absolutely loved it. And I think that 2022 could be their year. Hopefully going to look at doing some events and some fairs when COVID finally jogs on. But yeah, I'm really, really proud of Hannah for making just these amazing snap bars, wax melts. We're looking potentially at getting burner kits, but that's a little bit way down the road. A lot of people say, you know, how do you use them? And it would be good to do like an all assembled thing. I think Hannah's looking at doing some spring scents soon. And then we'll look into doing it as a seasonal thing, you know, spring, summer, autumn, winter, Halloween, Christmas, that sort of stuff in the middle. But yeah, I absolutely love all my sponsors. I use all of the stuff myself, and I just try and be as genuine as possible with it, really. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. I'm nearly at 30 subscribers, I think, and I'd like to get to 50 by the end of February if possible. I don't think that's an unachievable task. But yeah, thanks as always for listening, watching, and I hope that the guest that I've just had on has been interesting. So I will speak to you all very, very soon. Keep it Bedlam, and please support the show by supporting my sponsors. Cheers, guys.
Absolute Bedlam Podcast. Who? What? Where? Why?